U.S. military drones. Again, this is being investigated by local law enforcement. What our initial assessment here is that these are not drones or activities coming from a foreign entity or adversary.
You're telling me we don't know what the hell these drones are in New Jersey are? Is that correct?
That's right.
It's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
From the Coast Guard, who said that one of their 47-foot motor lifeboats was followed by between 12 and 30 of these drones as they went through the water.
These are 6-foot drones that are somehow evading our detection. They are not being detected.
They're saying no threat, but how the hell do they know? They don't know anything. They don't know what it is. They don't know where it come from. They don't know nothing.
They know that they can't track them. They know that they don't emit a signal. They know that they can't see them when they turn their lights out. They also indicated that they don't know where they come from. They don't know where they go to.
One family claims they followed a drone in their car, and while it hovered above them, the clock in their car changed times.
Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes.
It's right here over Picatinny. There was a drone just hanging out. I put my drone up in the air and went towards it. I had full battery life. Not 3 minutes into the flight, I lost control of the drone. Warning on my screen, lost control, and my drone started going down dead.
These are fully charged batteries. It's 2 batteries that have died within seconds, and the drone went up and, like a couple feet off the table, and then came right back down.
Okay, you see it? You see how it goes? See how it goes? And then it becomes a spacecraft or aircraft or whatever you want to call it.
What the fuck is that, bro? Did it just get smaller? Bro, what?
Above the ocean, and it was low, very low, but so bright and so clear, and it was huge. Like when you...
I'm concerned. I issued a letter to ask for more information, and I think there should be a lot more transparency about that.
Can you make that make more sense? Because I think people in New York and New Jersey see drones the size of an SUV over their house every night and think that that doesn't make any sense.
I understand why people would be looking at this and being concerned about it. We're concerned about it too, which is why we have the Department of Homeland Security and the FBI. My goodness, looking at this. And
okay, we are here today, doing it live, prepping all the way up until that montage. Let's get us on this side. We'll shout out the chat really quick too and put on some upbeat music for this part. All right. And let me know if you guys can hear me. It does show that the audio is working on my end. Yeah. Timmy, I swear I have never been excited about an upcoming TV show or stream, but I'm pumped for the RPK updates. Yeah, I think some of us are just can't take our eyes off this story. I'm definitely in that camp, and these definitely help me just kind of manage that. Bold Gambit says, and I'm sure a lot of you guys feel the same way. Like we're always probably looking up stuff. Bold Gambit says, I really appreciate your nightly coverage of this flap. You strike the perfect balance between lighthearted and serious. You also manage to always find new content and have interesting discussions. Yeah, tonight's an interesting show too. They always kind of just they end up being a little interesting, a little different. I feel like than we can find other places. John Iris says, watch Steve Basett 139 mark, best summary I've heard. Yeah, we're gonna play that first because you did request that earlier. I was able to do that. C Dashel says, RPK, will you fix some of the audio mixing in the Biden UFO and Sopranos UFO skits? Your general audio is fine, but then suddenly I get your blast. Sorry, I was not able to do that in time. That's one thing I wasn't able to do. So if we do the memes, this one I think is too loud. He was saying, let's see. I guess I need to. Tony looking up might be a little too loud. I did fix the audio on this one because this one was too quiet. The Independence Day, don't shoot the UFOs.
The LAPD is asking Los Angelinos not to fire their guns at the visitor spacecraft. You may inadvertently trigger an interstellar war. Please. The LAPD.
So yeah, sorry I wasn't able to do that one yet. Darn it. Okay. Blue Jasmine says, this channel is where I get my news now. Yep, mainstream media is failing. Oh, shoot, we're a little bit up there. El Kimpo says, today I'm ready and I'm jumping in 10 minutes before the stream ends. LOL. Thank you for being here, bro. And he also says, this video, I haven't been able to check that out. Maybe send it to me after and we can look at it maybe tomorrow. Doug Dastardly says, better feed the animals so I can settle down to watch this. Yes, sir. Tom Giles says, send me a super sticker, $4.99. Thank you, sir. Yo, long-time listener, first-time caller. That's cool. Glad you're here for it live. Master says, yo, Hello897 says hello. UFO nut. So is the Range 4 Harry story real? I don't know what's that about. Tell me what that's about. UP Zach says, yo, what's up? Tom Jail, longest 60 seconds cries. Ryan, take me to your leader. Jet Maxim's here. HS. Dust Bunny X. Lou has been keeping Jersey safe so far, but he's only one man. I'm not sure how much longer he can keep the drones at bay. Yep, exactly. Oh, Beat the Light. Glad you're here. Hell yeah. Daisy, Kirk, Jessica, Vegan, Donovan, Corfroy. All right, we're gonna start there. Sorry if I didn't get you. Maybe we'll shut you out at the end. A bunch of stuff to kind of go through today. I'm always like, this is gonna be a short day, and then by the end of it, I'm like, oh shoot, we got a whole ass little presentation going on here. But yes, so first we are gonna do what was requested in the live chat was I guess there was this conference today, and I'm actually glad you brought that to my attention. I didn't even realize this. But he wanted to hear Steve Bassett's part. And apparently at this conference, there was Danny Sheehan. It was like an online thing. Danny Sheehan, Chris Bledsoe. So I'm probably actually going to go through and clip this after the show because I do want to hear some of their takes. But who was it? Let's get their name down real quick. Who was it? John Iris said, request to rewatch it. So we'll start with this, and then we'll get through my little playlist of stuff to cover for today and see what Steve Bassett has to say. I haven't seen this yet.
The United States government knew about the ET presence no later than July of 1947 in Roswell. Made the decision at that time to keep that from the American people. Fine. Almost exactly 5 years later to the week, there was a significant flyover of Washington, D.C. The U.S. government had a problem. General John Sanford made the response for the government, which was equivocative, but not unreasonable. But also there came a response from Donald Keogh, who flat out said, these are extraterrestrials. It's not human. Again, the government made the decision to keep this from the American people. 10 years later, 1962, we had the Cuban Missile Crisis, where we almost had a nuclear war. Only 4 years after that, these craft started appearing over our nuclear facilities and shutting our nuclear weapons down. How many times this happened in the 60s, we don't know, because the Air Force probably at some point was able to keep a much tighter rein on the outcome. But witnesses for a number of these shutdowns came forward. They have been trying to testify before Congress for 30 years, which is when they initially made the decision to start coming forward, led by Captain Robert Salas. The government has not allowed them to testify, and in fact, it has virtually ghosted them. It was about the only thing they could do. All right. And so that was in the 60s. Again, the government kept this from the American people. Decades went on. And then we start to approach what I think is the end game, the end of the truth embargo. And we start moving into that 7-year period starting in 2017. But it's not big.
And in case anyone doesn't know, they're kind of popping in from like outside UFO land. Steve Bassett, he's a longtime advocate and what is the word, lobbyist for UFO stuff. He does kind of have a meme though, where like you could find an article basically from him for basically like every year since like 2002. That like next year we're getting disclosure. That is a funny meme, but I do appreciate what he does. He does a lot of outreach and stuff like that. He's a nice voice in the community. Seems like a respectable guy. And yeah, this is on the channel Ubiquity University. They had this kind of, I don't know, what do you call it? Like a streamathon or something like that. It's about what? About 2.5 hours long, and they had a bunch of people on it. Yeah, I'm just gonna let this play a little more.
Been easy. It's been slow. There's been pushback. There's been some wins and losses, but we are moving toward disclosure without question. However, we are also moving toward nuclear war. Just that one thing alone is enough to be justification for more action from them. And so as we stall on the disclosure process, we suddenly have what the history will call the era of the drone swarms, the drone swarm flap. Let me take you back to May 17th of 2022. At that time, we had a hearing in front of the subcommittee of the Intelligence Committee in the Senate. Scott Bray and Ronald Moultrie. It was the first hearing, by the way, since the last one in 1968. So we're talking 54 years. So that's progress. And they came in, they were working for the UAP task force, and they testified. It wasn't, grandiose. It was kind of basic. A lot of people were not satisfied. But at that hearing, you may recall, a video was presented, a video that had emerged not too long before the hearing was held. And it involved a drone swarm around one of our ships at night, not over New Jersey, not over the UK, not over some part of the United States, but over one of our ships at night. And they did not shoot them down. In fact, they didn't do anything. And the only reason we got that film is because, well, a lot of sailors have cameras. They're allowed to take cameras with them. And somebody filmed it and it got in our hands. And Scott Bray tried to explain it, but it was really painful.
Real quick, I'm going to...
So the drone swarm era goes all the way back.
Let's watch that. Let's just do a little trip down memory lane. This is from 2021. And I think Corbell released this. Am I not muted? Yes, good. Okay. We'll watch this real quick and then we'll go back there and then we'll start with the presentation.
Vehicles might have been drones launched by nearby ships, but no luck. And when they reached out to a Carnival cruise ship, they also reported seeing these mysterious lights as well. So right now, what we know about this pretty brazen incursion comes from entries into the ship's logs of the USS Kidd, the USS Rafael Peralta, and the USS John Finn, which over the course of several nights in 2019 were swarmed by unidentified aerial vehicles. One log entry describing a back and forth left-right maneuver that's similar to what a commander of a strike fighter group saw in the same general area back in 2004 off the coast of California when he and a group of fighter jets spotted an unidentified flying objects they described as a white Tic Tac. Take a listen to what he says happened right after they first spotted it, bouncing back and forth left and right over the surface of the water.
And it starts coming up at us. We call it two-circle fight, but it's coming up, I'm coming down. So it literally is aware we're there. There's no doubt because it mirrored me. So here it is. I cut across and I get to about half mile of it, so I'm about halfway across the circle. As it gets in front of me, it just goes poof and it's gone. And it's gone like that fast.
Now, in these latest incidents, we know the Navy deployed special recon teams to record evidence from the ship's deck, but so far no evidence of what they saw has come to light. But we are told evidence from these incidents are just a small part of a report requested by the Senate Intelligence Committee that could include a large number of unexplained sightings of flying objects that seem to operate with impunity over secure, restricted areas of U.S. airspace. And that report is due to Congress by mid-June. Frank, back to you.
So, Gotti, great reporting on this. So I think the question that a lot of people are going to ask is...
All right, we'll leave it there. And I don't think we're going to go back to the Steve Basett thing. I think I told you guys how to find it. I forgot the name already, even too. What is it? Ubiquity something. We're going to just continue on the playlist here. So actually, I added something too last minute. See, that's the thing. I keep on adding stuff last minute. So this is USS Zumwalt encounters a mystery drone in the middle of the ocean 2019. So yeah, these kind of mystery drones, they were actually... There's been a few waves of them, usually around this time of year, as we covered with when Ryan Graves talked about on Rogan. But these first really started out in the Navy, and these were really explained away. And then there was they were in Colorado, which we're going to touch on again tonight in 2019, 2020. Then last year they were in Langley, Virginia. But now I think because it's over such a populated area, that's why it's causing all this hoopla. But what we're kind of witnessing in New Jersey has been seen fairly recently and fairly consistently. Like I said, usually around the same time of year, but let's just watch this video. It looks, I don't know, it just looks similar to what we're seeing in New Jersey.
This is USS Zumwalt at approximately 0335 Zulu on April 24, 2019, while conducting routine operations 17 nautical miles off the coast of Camp Pendleton in international waters. At least 6 unknown UASs made multiple flyovers and circle patterns around the ships, operating at various altitudes between 300 and 1,000 feet. All appear to fly consistent patterns northwest, east, south, without alteration of course, speed, and altitude. No weapons were observed.
I added the little flight path thing to this video so that way people could pause it and read it if they want. So yeah, okay. Well, John Iris says, "Trust me, go back to Basett." All right, we're trusting you. This is your chance, bro. We're gonna go back to Basett. Let's see.
To 2022. And it has been escalating ever since. And so here is my conclusion. The extraterrestrials have lost their patience. And the risk to us as a civilization has only increased. And so they've decided we're going to end this nonsense. And so they are doing incursions using their devices, whatever they are, not just in one place, not in two places, not on one continent, multiple continents. And the US government knows it. And what do you do? Here's what they do, right? You can't shoot them down. They know they're extraterrestrial, I can assure you, right? Trying to shoot down extraterrestrial craft of any kind or orbs of any kind, you end up killing human beings, and it's hopeless. You don't want to send up piloted craft because they can crash. So you send up your own drones to somehow monitor them as best you can. And so what you're seeing is a mix of military drones and non-human craft entities of whatever type they want, engaging in some, I guess, process, probably mostly surveillance by us of them. And that is all the government can do. And so what the ETs and their genius have done is put the United States government, the UK government, in an impossible position, finally. In other words, we can't tell you what they really are, though we know, but we can't stop them from doing this. And they continue to do it, and they will continue to do it. And the pressure on the government, the embarrassment for the government will become excruciating. And those people within the United States government that somehow have decided that we will never know this truth as long as they walk this face of the earth will finally just capitulate to the growing number of people within our government think it's time we know the truth about this. And so this is an ET-driven intervention to get us into the post-disclosure world before we blow ourselves to hell. The current engagement of it is to send up our own drones to try to, I don't know, follow them, do what we can. The whole thing is a giant fiasco, and it only leads one way.
And remember, I told y'all I heard back channel that like already a week ago now, they tried to dispatch Valkyrie Kratos drones from Camp Pendleton to UFOs over Oregon, Medford, and that they did not return. So I'd imagine like that one video we've seen where that one, it looks like a personal drone is going towards one of these things. I'm sure that's probably already happened with that. There's no way these things have been flying over military bases for like a month now with all this publicity, and they didn't try to like get close, in my opinion. So why aren't they telling us that? That or it's a psyop, right? Play a little more.
Way, right? There's so many of these things can go on, and so many members of the Senate or the House or the DOD that have to come out with ridiculously idiotic answers and make complete fools of themselves before they realize if we would end this truth embargo, we could stop making fools of ourselves and our government and move on with civilization. That's the narrative that I'm using for this. I'm very comfortable with it, but I certainly invite those that disagree. Thank you.
That was pretty good. Yeah, okay, I'm glad we went there. All right, so now we're gonna continue along with this one. Let's see. How are we looking there? Boom. All right, so we just finished watching that swarm thing. And what do you guys think? That video looked, I mean, honestly, the video wasn't that good, but it's kind of some of this corroborating evidence around it. But let's see. So this was today.
Everyone here to Live Now.
Today we learned that there's new FAA restrictions over New Jersey, right? So let's just kind of listen to this.
Now from Fox, we are keeping you up to date on the latest of the drone mysteries, especially out in New Jersey, but we know they are popping up everywhere across the country. Hi, everyone. Mike Pace here. Thanks again for joining us on Live Now from Fox. So there is some new updates here. Now, the FAA is announcing temporary restrictions on drone flights in New Jersey here. It's going to go into the new year just before the presidential inauguration for Donald Trump. So this temporary drone restriction is taking place until January 17th. So a lot of people saying, okay, is this because they want to know exactly who is now not supposed to be up in the sky? So basically, if you're up in the sky here with some recreational drones, they could take you down now. So here is the latest from the FAA. I want to read it out here to you, and then we'll get into a little bit more of what this all can mean. The Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, issued temporary flight restrictions prohibiting drone flights over parts of New Jersey following an influx of sightings in recent weeks. The notice, which expires on January 17th, 2025, said drone operations in support of national defense, homeland security, law enforcement, firefighting, search and rescue, or disaster response missions are not included in the restrictions. Commercial drone operations are allowed with a valid statement of work, but there must be an approved special government interest airspace waiver, and all applicable FAA regulations must be followed here. So basically what they're trying to do now is just trying to weed out with all of these drones. So we know there's a bunch of drones always in the sky.
Remember too, right? It's like, why hasn't this already happened yet? And two, they're saying it's not a big deal. It's not an issue. I think he'll say it, but I was reading last night that they were even saying deadly force authorized or something like that. I don't even know. We'll continue along here.
Now, this has been popping up in the last couple of weeks, really prevalent.
Oh, and somebody asked, Clubs asked, any live streams of the beach in Jersey with the orbs? I did just post a link to the channel, and that channel that has those is called, give me one moment so that way you guys can all just have it too. A lot going on here. Oh shoot, I have to switch my thing again. Sorry guys. The channel is, of course, where is this thing? Can't find the channel right now. Very weird. Oh, actually, no, I got it. Here we go. The channel is TCPIP Nut. I'll type that out for you guys. TCPIP Nut. All are typed how I type it out here. And that one I do know, although I think it just ended, but they just ended a 5-hour live stream of the I think it's by Seaside where Jersey Shore is filmed around there. And yeah, there was orbs coming out of the water earlier, at least alleged orbs. Who knows? Probably some of those could probably get debunked, but we did witness some of that earlier. Maybe we'll get a clip of that for tomorrow, but it will continue along here now.
In the last, I would say, 8 days or so. Now they're trying to just weed it out, but there's still going to be drones up in the sky and maybe some unidentified things that we don't even know about that, of course, they're not going to be following these restrictions at all. So very interesting. A lot of people also talking about, why are you doing it just before the inauguration? I know it's in DC, much further from New Jersey, but if maybe we should put flight restrictions up until really the whole airspace for drones. Let's weed out everything, because let's say, okay,
We've got a busy show, so we're gonna stop that there. But yeah, so FAA total ban on all drones, I think now, right? And I think it might be all in New Jersey, if not definitely the affected areas. But yeah, so for not a threat, right? For something not to worry about. And I forget what the exact language was, but there was some kind of thing about force. All right, let's continue along here. That was kind of one of the things there. This was today, you know, the Pentagon has their press briefings, I think daily or every other day. And this was the section about the drones that came up.
On the drone question, I shudder to bring this up, but you mentioned on Tuesday that
Notice he said, I shudder to bring up the drones. Very strange.
on the drone question, I shudder to bring this up, but you mentioned on Tuesday that counter drone systems will be deployed to New Jersey this week or next week. Have those systems been deployed, and what's the rule of engagement on those? And are those kinetic or fuzzbuster type of equipment?
So the majority of that capability has deployed. The rest should be arriving very shortly, if not imminently. And as I highlighted earlier in the week, that will be a combination of active and passive detection capabilities, as well as some counter UAS capabilities, which would include non-kinetic types of systems like drone busters, right, which essentially disrupts signals and affects the ability of these systems to fly. Thanks very much. Kelly.
Just to follow up more a bit on drones, I just wanted to ask about the federal ban on drone operations in parts of New Jersey. The government, they say, may use, quote, deadly force against the drones if they pose an imminent security threat. Who would shoot them down if it came to?
Yeah, so that's what I was talking about there. The government will use deadly force if this flight ban on drones. I think they just mean kill the drone, right? Like they'll shoot a drone. But it is interesting they use deadly, right? Yeah, crazy.
Would that be DoD assets?
So a couple things. So first of all, I would note that that is standard security language included in national security NOTAMs and temporary flight restrictions. So FAA certainly could talk to you more about that. And as you've heard us say, we're going to work closely with the FBI, DHS, FAA to make sure that we're harmonizing our on-base efforts with anything that they're doing off-base. And the bottom line is that our forces, our commanders, if they observe UAS activity that they believe represents a threat, they have the authority to conduct mitigation operations based on the capability at their location. And as I highlighted, one of those capabilities could be the non-kinetic, interruption of signals, for example.
Talking about a potential government shutdown, how could that impact the efforts to detect and track drones and the efforts that you're doing right now?
Well, I mean, if it's, we're going to continue to do the operations, as I highlighted. Military personnel are going to continue to do operations necessary to protect and defend the nation. So in so much as we need to protect our facilities or mitigate.
So yeah, this guy looks like a Blue Book era guy to me. And a bunch of people are asking, are you going to cover the remote viewing thing today? Actually, not today, unfortunately, but I was in a space earlier with Birdie, who everyone was saying we should watch. She did 3 separate sessions on them, and they were each like an hour long. I just didn't have time to go through and cut it, but I'm pretty sure I could get her on. I've actually talked to her a few times. I didn't realize that was her. And actually, I think she said some stuff about her past that I think I could probably collect some fun media for us to kind of go over before we get into her predictions or what she remote viewed about all this stuff. So that's just the front on there. Okay. Somebody says when he brought Santa into it. Maybe I'll play that at the end if we remember. Yeah. Okay. So this was interesting. This happened just before the show started. So this is comedian Dane Cook. And what year was he like super? He was like the biggest comedian in the world for like 2007 or something like that. And so he says, SUV-sized drone in the sky tonight at dinner. Tonight on the roof at Funke in Bev Hills. This massive UAP flew in a pattern, stopping, scanning, fast flying, fast stopping. Scanning, and by the way, Beverly Hills, in case you guys don't know, is in Los Angeles, California, so West Coast. Scanning over and over for what looked like a mile. No sound, no buzzing or whirling of engines or propellers. Not sure if it was actually scanning, but it seemed to be sort of, I don't know, looking for something. Black Mirror come to life. And here's the video.
That flew and sort of zigzag in. It flew and it just stopped right there. And it's dead still. It's not even moving like a helicopter. It's not moving at all. It's not moving. It looks like it's locked in that position.
Yeah, that's really weird.
I watched it fly there and stop instantly.
Where did it come from? Did it come fast or slow or what?
I just watched it come from like behind the building and it stopped you guys. And it stopped. It's not doing anything. It looks like the top of the building.
It looks like it's landed on top of the building and not moving.
All these things.
Wow.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, Doc Rock says, looks like a helicopter. I don't know. I tend to think that the people filming it would know the difference, and it just looks kind of different on the camera. And I do think there's an element of mimicking going on, which is actually something that that Birdie remote viewer said too. And real quick, just for a little trip down memory lane, like who did we just watch? Let's just do this real quick. Dane Cook. Some people were saying 2002 is when he was really popular. There was definitely like 1 year where he was like super, super popular.
Recently, I was staying with my buddy Matt. Matt invited me over. He's like, dude, you should crash on my futon. We'll have a good time. Be like old times, man. I was like, Matt. That's what you do. Guys, we just say each other's names. Matty.
There was like 1 year where like Americans loved this shit. So that happened, and he saw a UFO tonight. And it's funny, I mean, maybe he saw a helicopter, but it is funny. He's kind of having like a little bit of an ontological shock moment, and like the people next to him are like, oh, whatever.
That flew and sort of zigzag in. It flew and it just stopped right there. And it's dead still. It's not even moving like a helicopter.
And yeah, he said not moving like a helicopter in the thing. And to reiterate what he said here, no buzzing or whirling of engines or propellers. Not sure if it was actually scanning. So he said no noise. That was just going back and forth. Who knows? We'll see. But that is Los Angeles. You know, that would be a really big way for this to blow up, right? I feel like there's more celebrities in Los Angeles than like New Jersey for sure, but maybe even New York. And if a bunch of celebrities started posting some weird ass videos, that would kind of propel things along here a little bit. Okay. What do we got next? We'll just go next. We'll just see. We'll do it live. Okay. Here's a girl from New Jersey on TikTok. You know, I thought it'd be good to kind of include these kinds of videos that go viral and just kind of get a sense of all of things going on around here. Let's see what she has to say.
All right, here comes another one. This is very, very weird, but they're not car-sized. They're just weird. See, I feel like you can get a better judge of the size of it. The media said they're car-sized. They're not. They're just weird. They're going over and over. There's tons of them. And they're just going over the same areas again and again. It definitely looks like mapping.
She also says, and people are like, that looks like a plane too. But she also said kind of the same thing Dane Cook just said, right? That it's like scanning. I think a lot of people have been reporting that too. There's been some experiencers in spaces that we've gotten to know over the past few weeks from Jersey who like are all just obviously like all of a sudden interested in UFOs, understandably. And they kind of all report similar things too, that these things look like they're scanning. They're just kind of going on like an AI pre-programmed route. They will interact with things if like something gets in its way, but it's kind of on it's like on a little Wall-E mission or something like that.
But no, it's definitely not car size. They're so weird looking though. They're much bigger than normal drones. I'll say that. Like the kind that I have is a Maverick. Oh, here's another one. They're big enough that they make like airplane sounds, not like drones sounds. They make gliding sounds. Oh, it's so bizarre. I get why everyone's freaking out now. They're definitely not car sized. That is some odd media spin. Like maybe they're like bike sized, but I think they're even smaller than that, like tricycle sized. But yeah, this is really, really, really odd that no one knows why they're doing this. If they're being this egregious about it, just flying over the same areas over and over and over again. It probably is something just like the government is mapping New Jersey just to have it. Something super innocuous, but I think it's kind of spooky.
So yeah, who knows? Maybe this girl did see a plane. But I have heard people still kind of doubling down with that. The drones they're looking for a lost nuke, even though, you know, Ryan Graves and a few other people have said that their sources don't say that. I've heard other people who are like, no, my sources tell me like that's what's happening. What do you guys think about the you guys are wild. What do you guys think about the nuke that they're scanning for a dirty nuke hypothesis? There was the mayor, right, that kind of said it very boldly too. There's all these weird theories going out there. That's another thing here. It's I don't know what I could compare it to this mainstream on like with so many different theories, with so many people being like fully bought into like, oh no, that's our drone. Oh no, that's Iranian Chinese drones. Like at pretty high levels. Pretty weird. All right, we'll go to the next one.
We are
Now, this was kind of going viral today. I don't even know to check it or if this guy's in the military or not, but I thought it was kind of interesting discussion, so we'll watch it.
launching the drones up in the sky as of right now in New Jersey and stuff, in Texas, everywhere. Like, y'all don't gotta be afraid. Them are man-made drones. And we're doing the launching or whatever. Now, what you do have to be concerned of, my bad, my eye, but is the orbs that's inside the sky that y'all see that's glowing and stuff, that's shooting down the drones and all that. That's not a part of us. Them are actually real life aliens. Like, aliens do exist. They're above and they're below us. Yes, they do exist. And 2025 come, there will be a lot more of exposing the truth I can't say the reason why, but
Yeah, so I don't even know if I, I didn't verify this at all or anything like that. But I do think that's kind of interesting, and I do hear people throw out that theory too. So, we don't really know what's going on. But the idea that like the orbs, because there does seem to be two separate phenomena going on: these orbs, and then these like weird metallic shape-shifting droney things, and they seem to not necessarily be on the same side. They seem to interact. Should have pulled maybe some of them for that, but sorry guys. It actually takes a lot of work to prepare these shows. Okay, this was really interesting.
Now you're talking about the UFO.
So this happened right before the this stream started, and basically we're gonna have somebody who seems credible, and I think they're gonna give me some more time. Basically, the TLDR is that they live in New Jersey. They posted a fairly compelling video of an orb that went viral, and then he got kind of doxxed and harassed from like people online. And then he got visited by the FBI, and his neighbors did too. He's going to kind of run us through all that. And not just that, that video that he posted got deleted from everywhere the day before the FBI came. So it got deleted on his things, but also like other people had like ripped it and posted it. It got deleted from their things too. And it had already gotten like, I think he said 1 million plus views. So we'll just listen to this audio real quick. This is pretty interesting. I like to try and as close as we can to some of these events happening, trying to get this testimony recorded. So this is very interesting development. Let's listen to this.
Phenomenal.
And tell me if you guys believe them. I personally do. I don't know him that long though, so I will say that. But yeah.
Real quick, and then you guys can go back to it. I
Kobe.
just had a question for Zane, real quick. Zane, did you just say that you found something, and then authorities visited you? Is that what I heard you say?
Well, I filmed. Again, I need to be vague. I did write an article on my X profile that I go into as much detail as I feel comfortable, because unfortunately I got severely doxxed when I posted what I found on the internet. So now I got to protect my family, and I have to be very anonymous about everything. So I don't want to get into specifics, but I will give you the nutshell of what happened. I captured video of an unexplained object in the sky. I did not know what it is. It was in New Jersey in recent times with everything that's been going on. The video went pretty viral on the internet. Then the video got taken down everywhere pretty much. And then it was about a day later, I got visited by the FBI, though they also did visit my neighbors. But they did ask about the video. They asked of what I saw. They were very nice. There was no aggression there. They just asked some questions. They did pretty much, it was intimidating that they showed up at my house and they knew who I was, but also my information was fully doxed online as well. So it really did intimidate me in the sense that I have to be careful what I say. And though I want to be part of this community, I had to restart over. I had to get rid of all my social media accounts online. I had to get rid of everything because, there were literally thousands of people trying to reach out and give me hate for something that I wasn't even trying to claim what I saw. I was just saw something, I filmed it, and I got a lot of hate for it, and as well as a bunch of people wondering what was going on and what it was. But that's my story in a nutshell. But I will say that the FBI, they were very cordial. There was no real issues, but they did show up at my house. I know they went to my neighbors as well, but they were specifically asking about the video I took. So whatever that means to you, I don't know. I'm still trying to process everything that happened as well, and I don't have all the answers, but in a nutshell, that's my story.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. If you could DM me the video, I would love to see it. And also, thank you for not being afraid. Thank you for being brave to come and talk with all of us who are trying to figure it out. I'm absolutely shocked that they found you through a video online. And yeah, that's what are you doing? What are you talking about? What did you see? That's freaky, man. Nobody wants to knock on the door from the FBI.
Can you describe the video?
Briefly, I want to be careful because the video itself seems to be what got me in trouble more than anything. I think talking about it is okay, but showing it, I'm a little skeptical. But essentially, it was an orb-like image in the sky. It was not a traditional drone of any sort. It was more orb-like. I saw it was really just a bright light in the sky moving around in a weird way, which isn't unlike a lot of other videos I've seen. So I don't know why I was singled out, but I can tell you that the video online through different social media had hundreds of thousands of views, and then simultaneously everywhere pretty much got deleted all at the same time. And that was what was really weird.
When was this? When was this thing?
Interesting.
I do want to be, I don't want to say specific dates or times because that might identify the video more so with me. And again, trying to stay anonymous with that. But
Yeah.
I can tell you it was within the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
What did the FBI tell you about the whole situation, and what did they like leave you with? What was the vibe?
Well, they did not disclose anything to me. They didn't say anything to me more than just asking me the couple questions. They did not come in my house. They just knocked on the door. They asked if they could ask me a couple of questions. They asked me if I, about the video. And that's what the way they said it, though, about the video that I recorded. So they knew about the video. They knew it was me. And
Where's the video?
they pretty much they just said that they were just asking questions. They were also asking neighbors about, lights in the sky. That was really it. Then they left at that. They didn't go into any detail. They didn't disclose anything for me. They did not, so I've heard reports of sometimes the feds come and they threaten you or this. No, they didn't do anything like that to me. They just simply asked me some questions. It did intimidate me. And definitely at that point, with my information leaking online and then that happening, that's when I deleted everything on social media. And because I don't know if that's how they found me or not.
Was the video already deleted everywhere by the time they visited you, or did that happen after?
It happened the night prior.
Are you Richard Doty?
So the video was still intact when they came and saw you?
No, the video got removed from every platform. And this is the weird part. It got removed from everywhere I uploaded it, but it also got removed from other people's posts from what I could tell. I mean, it might still exist somewhere on the internet, but it got removed in a bunch of places all at the same time. And it was the night before it got removed. And then they showed up the next morning.
But you no longer have it.
I do have a copy of the original video, but again, I'm going to be very apprehensive about sharing that only because of what happened.
And it was an orb.
It was an orb. That's the thing is that's what was crazy to me about it is that there was nothing honestly in the video that to me that seemed anything crazier than what I've seen other people experience. But it does make me wonder how many people does this happen to that actually capture something that then do just get too intimidated and don't want to speak out. I got very scared for myself.
Super viral. It went super viral.
It did go well, I don't know what super viral means in today's world of hundreds of millions of views, but it went viral enough where I think probably collectively between the places that I know it was uploaded and re-uploaded, I think it had at least 1 million views probably, altogether that I could see, but it may have had more.
Yeah, that's why the FBI. That's why the FBI cared.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right.
It's always crazy, man. That's what's weird about this field. I always say UFO podcaster symptom number 1 is that you think they're always trying to get you. All right, Will, you take the stage. The floor is yours. Thank you so much for sharing. And also,
well, yeah, and hopefully hopefully he'll be able to show me that video in a few weeks, and I'll be able to verify with you guys, like if it was one that went viral or not. But there is a lot of stuff being covered up, in my opinion, out there. There's this mist. There's these drones are discharging a mist that I've now heard 5 separate testimonies from of people who didn't know each other saying that they saw this or that they talked to someone who saw this in Jersey and in LA. Also, the videos of the alleged drones shooting towards the ground, I don't think were sufficiently debunked. So there's the cover-up element, even greater in my opinion than what's going on with just like the White House messaging. So that's why I wanted to include this because I don't know, maybe it turns out that this guy was lying, but we'll see.
Thank you, Zane.
Huge, Zane. That's huge. I'm following you. Please keep us updated. If you need any support, if there's anything that we can do for you as you're trying to, I'm sure it's stressful. Like, I'm sure it's super stressful, dude. Like, I'm thinking for you. And so just let us know if you need anything. We're all here to help you. We might not seem like we have that much power, but we're a good little group. Go ahead, Will, take over.
Yeah, I just want to say before I start here, Zane, you said it's orb-like shape. You said it was like an orb shape, not an orb shape. So what kind of shape would you say would be that if it wasn't an orb?
I would say it is an orb. Again, maybe I'm like watch every word I say just to protect myself to some extent.
No.
So I apologize if I come off a little vague or weird at times.
I'm not trying to attack you. I'm not trying to figure out. I've seen
No.
something.
I got you. No, I'm not taking it like that. I'm just, every word I got to be careful to some extent. But to me, it was an orb.
It's definitely something I've witnessed too. Just kind of like I could understand the sentiment he's doing, and he seemed genuine in the other conversations I've had with him. That like people, like for instance, the couple who saw one in Arizona, people will see something that's pretty like it shakes them up just as is, and then the internet is like trying to basically dox them, and a bunch of like debunking types are like hella rude and nasty to them. So I could see why this guy's like, if you're not anywhere like online like that, and then you post a video that goes viral, I could see why he's like, I just want things to cool down.
The only thing I will say to that is, as it was moving around, it looked like it was changing shape in some regard. It was, at least as if it was moving, it almost, the best way I could almost describe it is almost like motion blur. Like it was just, as it was moving, it looked like it was more of an oval, where it was and then when it was stationary, it was more of a direct circle.
Was it red or blue?
It was more white.
White. Okay, thank you.
Is it a light white, or was it the color white?
It was more like, I would say like a daytime white, like a daytime color white,
like solid, like it wasn't like a actual light source.
All right, yeah, we'll stop it there. I'll keep you guys posted on this story. This is kind of like a developing story, but like I said, there's a lot of sketchy stuff too. I haven't seen our other friend Omer, who filmed some videos, and he's in the heat of it too, right there. We did that witness testimony with him a few days ago. He said one of these things like beamed a light at him, and that made his phone kind of start acting up. So there's things happening that are definitely not being reported in the media. So that's why I just wanted to include it. If it turns out being fake, I'm sorry. We're in the middle of it, guys. All right, we're going to continue along now. Our next story, okay, we're going to
many of you have emailed us with pictures.
So this has been happening in so many states, right? And I probably should have just a section every day where it's like the new state it was reported in, because it keeps on getting bigger and bigger. And I wanted to do just like a stream where we just go over all the other states it's been in. I probably need to make a quick edited montage. That'll probably be helpful. But this is in Colorado, and I did want to talk about it for a few reasons, but let's just watch this.
And video showing sightings here in Colorado.
That's right. Fox 31's Ashley Michaels is speaking with experts and getting us some answers tonight. Ashley.
Well, this is not the first time something like this has come up in Colorado. Back in December of 2019, we had a lot of similar drone sightings all across our state, and now they're starting to be seen again.
News of mysterious drones in the skies across the country is now captivating audiences in backyards across Colorado.
All of a sudden, there was like this bright light, and it wasn't just the bright light, it was the lights the way they were on this, whatever it was. They were not conformed like the plane.
She didn't catch it on video at her home in Aurora, but in Elizabeth, someone else did.
It was flying very low, and it would kind of like stop, and then it would go, and it would go very fast, and then it would stop, and then it would go. So it was just really.
As the news reporter said, and as Kirk Butterfield here says, I saw some of those Nebraska ones in 2019. There was a wave of this right around the same time in 2019. It was just in like northern Colorado and southern Nebraska. So it didn't get as much press coverage, but like the people over there experienced a lot of similar things as to what's happening in New Jersey. Yeah.
I just thought it was really strange.
I think the public is right in their concern when they see unidentified flying objects over their house.
Chad Kendall is an aviation professor at MSU Denver. He says it can be very difficult to tell drones apart from airplanes.
Movement of the vehicle and stationary time of the vehicle may lead to be more of a drone than an airplane.
So that was this week, right? They're reporting these mystery drones now. And who had that comment here? It was oh, here we go. Mega Triumph says cat mutilations not being reported. Yeah, so that ties into the next story. That's why I wanted to include this one on here, because the same week that this is being reported, Colorado's having these. We get this story.
We're hearing
200 cattle go missing in Colorado this week. Yeah, so we'll just play it real quick.
From ranchers on the western slope baffled by the sudden disappearance of 180 cows. We first told you about this yesterday.
Yeah, very strange. So the cows were last seen right here on that plateau, stretching across Montrose, Delta, San Miguel counties. But the Montrose County Sheriff's Office says there's too much snow where the cattle went missing to investigate on the ground. The ranchers have reported that they've flown over top and found no trace, but the lack of evidence leaves deputies thinking that there could be foul play. Ranchers say they wouldn't be surprised either.
The reason that we are leaning towards that they were stolen was the lack of the ranchers finding any carcasses or anything like that.
You know, wrestling isn't a thing of the past.
200 cattle missing, no tracks. How do you even transport 200 cattle without there being any kind of tracks, right? And I do have a video on my channel if you're new here about cattle mutilation. This has been going on for a while, and I just find it interesting. Who knows? Maybe they're totally separate, but I do find it interesting that like within days of these mystery drones first being reported in Colorado, we have this story, which I don't even know the last time there was one of these. 200 missing cattle, no trace. Very strange. All right, let's continue along here. Okay, so
Now to this
we're going to
story.
bounce around a little bit. So I'm just going to play a little bit more of that montage I played yesterday of the Colorado drone incursions and whatnot, just so you guys could remember, because I'm going to play something next that ties into that Colorado cattle thing.
The FBI, FAA, and U.S. Air Force are investigating a mystery in the skies over Colorado and Nebraska, where swarms of drones have been spotted, sometimes in formation. But who's flying them?
Sheriff's departments across the border area of 3 states have been flooded with similar reports since mid-December.
I think whomever is responsible for it will probably have a little bit of answering to do to the general public.
There's a mystery unfolding on the eastern plains. Massive drones have been spotted flying over towns, but no one seems to know where they came from. Morgan, Yuma, Logan, Washington, Phillips, and even Weld County are investigating. Drones have 6-foot wingspans, which makes investigators think they don't belong to a hobby.
So yeah, just so I wanted to remind you guys that there was a drone swarm in Nebraska and Colorado in 2019, very similar, same time of year, same kind of maneuvers and same kind of like blinking lights, but they don't look like planes and they're scanning for something. Now this happened, and
we're live.
Matt Ford, friend of the show, LOL. This was actually a good interview, Matt Ford. Good job. He interviewed a police chief from Nebraska, and he talks about how the drones that that they described as being similar to the ones being seen in New Jersey were harassing cattle during that time. So we don't know if they were. I didn't see anything yet, but I haven't really dug too deep on that front that if there was any mutilations or missing cattle in 2019. But here's his testimony of like what happened with the cow and the drones in 2019 in Colorado.
How many of them were there? What was the reaction from the ranchers of these things?
Towards the end of it, when we couldn't figure out what they were and what they were doing here, we were, this is Nebraska, so we were starting to get those answers from the ranchers about if these things keep messing, with my horses and I got to go round up my cattle every morning. It was pretty much coming down to, well, if the government's not going to look into it and do anything, we're just going to try and shoot them down. And, we're sitting there saying, hold on, let's not go to that yet. Let's, continue. But I understood where they were coming from. That's their livelihood. That's their property. So I understood that side of it. But as far as when these things would show up, I received a phone call one night from a rancher, and he had stated to me, these things are essentially lighting up his pastures with lights, almost like a searchlight or something like that. And it was starting to really bug him because it was making his animals move away from where he had left them. And, he'd have to go out at 4 or 5 in the morning and round them all up and get accountability of everything. And it just became a nuisance. But yeah, he had made the comment that whatever these things were, they had lit up his cattle and he could see it doing it. And it made him irritated. So he went out to go try and, chase it off or whatever he thought he was going to do. But it just took off. It just left. It's almost like it knew it was coming.
The description from the ranchers of these things, did any of the description of these vehicles match, or these airborne vehicles, did any of them match what you had seen or any of the other officers had seen? And did the rancher report any sounds like a helicopter or anything like that?
Yeah, it was typically the same thing that we experienced at our level with the no noise. Sometimes it was blinking lights, sometimes it was a solid looking light. And like I said, it just was starting to really irritate people that there was nothing we could do about it. And it seemed like the government either knew what it was or they just didn't know what it was. So they were shunning it off, hoping it would just go away. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's what it seemed.
In the morning of
Yeah, that's the that was new that I never I actually really hadn't even looked into the 2019 stuff until this all kind of broke off. But yeah, so I thought that was just kind of interesting testimony. Who knows? The cattle and the Colorado thing might not be related, but it is interesting that we have reports of these similar craft harassing or maybe just being curious about the cattle. What did I want to highlight here? Somebody had Siphon Unfiltered. RPK, can you back me up? Yes, Siphon Unfiltered is a friend of the show. Just want to make that clear here. Now, I posted this yesterday on Twitter. And this is that 1561 celestial phenomena in Nuremberg, Germany. And I was like, because I thought that it was kind of, not saying it's totally alike, but there seemed to be a battle in the sky between two separate sets of like UFOs, right? In 1561, if you don't know. And that kind of, as we see more and more videos come in, there does seem to be a differentiating thing between like orb videos and of these mystery drone videos, both of which are just like every day there's a bunch of really good videos, especially when you compare it to like the droughts before, right? Like there's a lot of very compelling orb videos, and I still have to edit a witness testimony I did with somebody else who had an orb video. So I posted this yesterday, and then I was like, you know what? I don't think anyone's ever done an AI rendition of it, so I just made an AI rendition of it. We'll just listen to it really quick. And again, this is a AI rendition of a witness account that was printed in the newspaper at the time. Yeah.
April 14th, 1561, at daybreak, between 4 and 5 a.m., a dreadful apparition occurred on the sun, and then this was seen in Nuremberg in the city, before the gates, and in the country, by many men and women. At first there appeared in the middle of the sun 2 blood-red semicircular arcs, just like the moon in its last quarter. And in the sun, above and below, and on both sides, the color was blood. There stood a round ball of partly dull, partly black ferrous color. Likewise there stood on both sides, and as a torus about the sun, such blood-red ones and other balls in large number, about 3 in a line and 4 in a square, also some alone. In between these globes there were visible a few blood-red crosses, between which there were blood-red strips, becoming thicker to the rear, and in the front malleable like the rods of reed grass, which were intermingled, among them 2 big rods, one on the right, the other to the left, and within the small and big rods there were 3, also 4 and more globes. These all started to fight among themselves, so that the globes, which were first in the sun, flew out to the one standing on both sides. Thereafter, the globes standing outside the sun in the small and large rods flew into the sun. Besides, the globes flew back and forth among themselves and fought vehemently with each other for over an hour. And when the conflict in and again out of the sun was most intense, they became fatigued to such an extent that they all, as said above, fell from the sun down upon the earth as if they all burned, and they then wasted away on the earth with immense smoke. After all this, there was something like a black spear, very long and thick, sighted. The shaft pointed to the east, the point pointed west. Whatever such signs mean, God alone knows. Although we have seen, shortly one after another, many kinds of signs on the heaven, which are sent to us by the Almighty God, to bring us to repentance, we still are, unfortunately, so ungrateful that we despise such high signs and miracles of God, or we speak of them with ridicule and discard them to the wind, in order that God may send us a frightening punishment on account of our ungratefulness. After all, the God-fearing will by no means discard these signs, but will take it to heart as a warning of their merciful Father in heaven, will mend their lives and faithfully beg God
Oh, I was muted that whole time. Darn it. Shoot. Oh, I removed myself so you guys could see that. Sorry about that, guys. What did I say? Okay, I could be more concise now. Some of the things I found interesting about that, and again, I'm not saying for sure it is or it isn't, but I just, I was researching yesterday, came across it. I had never heard the translation of the actual text that is always accompanied with these images. So translated it, and I knew that it was described as a battle in the sky, right? But listening to it now, it's he describes rods versus like globes, right? So like I think he even says iron or metal rods versus globes. So that kind of could be, who knows, maybe like the mystery drones versus the orb phenomenon that we kind of see today. And that's why I kind of posted it, because it's more and more to me looking, like I said earlier, that there's like two separate phenomena going up in the sky right now, with a bunch of videos coming out like every day for both of them, of these orbs and of these mystery drones. Maybe they're on the same team, maybe they're not. As of right now, they kind of seem to be different. The other thing I highlighted while I was muting myself was that if you notice there too at the end, he mentions the ridicule, and that, let's see, maybe we could
Or we speak of them with ridicule and discard them to the wind, in order that God may send us a frightening punishment on account of our ungratefulness.
So I was muted, but yeah. So basically, I just find it interesting that ridicule was part of the mix too, like already a few hundred years ago now, for whatever this phenomena is. Maybe they're related, maybe they're not. All right, we're gonna close out here with a few statements from various UFO quote unquote celebrities. All right, where are we at? Okay, here we go.
Anything going on in?
So this was James Fox. He was in space today, so I was able to ask him about all this stuff, right? And if you don't know, if you're new to UFO land, documentary filmmaker. He's made a bunch of really good documentaries, I'd say, and he just released another one called The Program. And he did a Twitter space today, part of the promo thing. So I was able to ask him what he thinks about it, because he's all in the mix with a bunch of people. So I'm sure he's been at this for like 20 plus years. He probably has some interesting contacts like throughout the world of like he could get on information. So let's see what he had to say about this all.
New Jersey. What is your read with everyone you're talking to and looking at all the information coming? What is some of the theories? It's Iran is a theory out there. It's we're looking for a dirty nuke. Maybe it's NHI. Where are you with everything going on currently?
Well, so people that I know and I trust, and I've been bombarding them with inquiries because I really want to get to the bottom of it, have said that there are no easy answers. Obviously, there's misidentification going on, as there is with any UFO sightings. Everyone's out there in the night sky. Everyone wants to see it, and there are misidentifications of conventional craft being reported as UAP. But there are also very strange things, like 50 of these things were reported coming out off the ocean by Coast Guard and police department, right? I've got a buddy of mine who lives in New Jersey. I trust him. He goes, dude, I've seen 7 of them already. He goes, they're SUV sized, and their lawyer time is hours. I fly a drone somewhat professionally for all my movies I do, and I'm lucky to get 20-25 minutes flight time with mine. And these things are the size of an SUV, and they're up there for hours and hours. So if it is, I don't know, it's really strange. And everyone that I know, they say that they don't know what's going on. There could be a small percentage that is, non-human intelligence, but nobody seems to know, which is really weird.
So weird. I don't know if you've seen it on Reddit, James. So I was going to screenshot.
Okay, sorry. There's a little. That's basically the gist of what he said. That he doesn't. That the people he's talking to they're all stumped. Yeah. All right, let's continue along. Tom DeLonge,
the drones,
posted this yesterday to Instagram. This 1960s Air Force document. So I just like, we'll put on a video. This will be an easier way to do it than me having like read. So Tom DeLonge's post here on the left. We're gonna have it read by Bob Lazar, and then we're gonna read the document he actually posted yesterday.
That are being discussed can hover for 6 hours and then disappear. The drones that are being discussed can hover for 6 hours and then disappear once they are spotted. This is why it's been hard to get facts from any U.S. agency. Some of them can even move into the ocean and then back up to the air, which is called transmedium travel. A very hard thing to do. If you look at this document above, it seems like it's a repeat of exactly what happened in the 60s. There is a good chance that these things could potentially be mimicking other aircraft. And this even happened more recently in situations at Skinwalker Ranch years ago when it was being studied the U.S. Gov under base and ATIP. And again, also decades ago in the 60s.
So he's pointing out this mimicry element, right, that we see. Interesting.
It's all something to consider, and although we don't have all the facts yet, we do know that UFOs play with mimicry, and that has been known for quite some time. Why? To get us to notice them without a major freakout? Who knows? But well, we are noticing nonetheless.
Subject, unidentified flying objects, UFO.
So now we're looking at the document that he posted yesterday with that caption, Air Force document. Yeah, and he's posting this document to point the similarities with what we're seeing in New Jersey. So we're just going to listen for it.
UFO. 2 AFSC FTD. 1. Reference AFR 200. 2 as amended. Francis E. Warren Air Force Base is located in an area which has recently experienced a considerable number of reports pertaining to unidentified flying objects. On the night of July 31st, 1965, several civilians of Cheyenne, Wyoming, reported to the local radio stations various objects, generally with red and green flashing lights. These were relayed to the Francis E. Warren Command Post. All missile sites were immediately contacted and alerted to be on the watch for such objects. As a result, the following number of sightings were reported during the following 3 nights. The 31st of July, 75 objects, observed by 70 personnel the 1st of August. 29 objects, observed by 27 personnel the 2nd of August. 44 objects, observed by 46 personnel totals. 148 objects. Description of objects. Reported objects are mostly round, although there are reports of oval/cigar-shaped and pencil-shaped, or merely a light source. Reported sizes vary from that of a pinhead to a nickel when seen by the naked eye, and from the size of a pea to a $50 when seen through binoculars. Where sightings involved more than one object, V-shaped, echelon, cross, box, and tail-shaped formations were reported. On August 1st, there was one.
Kind of what we're seeing now too, and we saw in Colaris, where it's like there's just a plethora of different shapes and stuff, right? Like I said, it seems like they're all just kind of mimicking stuff of the time to like blend in. Yeah, I don't know.
One daytime report from a civilian source in Cheyenne of an oblong object tumbling through the sky and in the distance, becoming 2 objects before disappearing in separate directions. There were no discernible features except chat. Most reports stated that colored lights were flashing on and off at 1 to 2 second intervals, sometimes becoming alternately bright and dim. See Och 1. Possible tails were reported in a few cases. There's been no sound reported in association with any of the objects. All of the moving objects were to the northwest, north, and northeast of the observation points. 3. Description of courses of objects. The early observations were somewhat accidental and perhaps incomplete in that light and/or movement caught the eye of the observer. Subsequent observations were the product of intentional surveillance, prompted by earlier reports.
So yeah, some of the things.
The drones that are being discussed can hover for.
There we go. Some of the things that are similar, right, is this blinking thing, this plethora of different shapes. I thought there was somewhere in there where it said it was green and red blinking, but I might just be reading too much stuff and not remembering right. Moving in formations. There was only one daytime sighting, right? So a majority of this was happening at night. Yeah, I'm curious. I bet you there was something nuclear going on over there at that time. And now I'm starting to think too, I bet you there was something nuclear going on with Colaris, Brazil. They were probably trying to build some like secret nuke facility out there or something. In that somebody had said in the comments that maybe these things are stewards of the earth. Yeah, I don't know. Adam Richardson says the best video of the day is Ross's retweet of the glowing golden orb over New Jersey daytime, please. Okay, maybe we'll play that at the end. Actually, let's see. Maybe we could just find it right now. We'll just do it real quick. I'm doing it live. I haven't seen this one yet, I think. Let's see. Is it the Chris Bledsoe one? Actually, you know what? We'll just save it for tomorrow because I don't know which one you're talking about. DM me on Twitter, though, if you want, and then that way you could try and get it in. What do we got next? So we did James Fox. We did Tom DeLonge. Next we got, and sorry, guys, I did not get a chance to turn down the volume, but we got it. We got to hear from Lou. Lou has been like, you think I've been activated? Lou's been even more activated. Lou did like literally like 6 podcasts in one day. It was pretty crazy. And when we cut to Lou during this New Jersey drone flap, we got to play this.
Drone sightings have been reported above critical infrastructure. He added that their presence appears nefarious in nature.
I don't know who could have possibly done this.
And it gets even worse. Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported.
All right. We don't have to play the full thing, but he went on Donald Trump Jr. podcast, which I think is called like Triggered. And here's a little compilation of what he had to say there.
Proliferation of these drones and how technology is outpacing policy. I'm wondering, what are your thoughts if the U.S. government were to put in every major organization, defense and intelligence?
Again, if you're not American or you don't know, this is Donald Trump Jr., the son of Donald Trump, who's the president-elect, going to be sworn in here in about a month. So, yeah.
It's like Department of Energy, right, where they have facilities they got to protect, and maybe the Navy, who's got bases in the Air Force, and the major combatant commands. What if you had a drone representative there that was responsible for looking at drone activity, both defensively and offensively for those commands, and not only advising those organizations and services, but then reporting to a drone czar? And now I say this because if you go back in the clock 60, 70 years ago, before we ever made it to space, we only had an Air Force and an Army and a Navy, right? We weren't fighting in space. We weren't in space. And now we have a Space Force and a Space Command because we've got a lot of equities in space. This is one of those rare occasions where you have this gray area between a technology that could be used for military purposes, is being used for intelligence, could be used as a weapon, and could be used for civilian and other uses. And that guy.
So yeah, Super Water says, I hear Lou's going to be the UAP czar. I've kind of heard that around town too. And it seems like he's like totally shilling Donald Trump Jr. here to like, hey, have your dad create this position. So I think he definitely wants to be a UFO czar. He already calls himself the czar of torture in his book. And he did at one point say he was going to run for office. Now, real quick for people who might not know, used to be a really big Lou fan, but basically over the years, I saw him interact with and intermingle with some of the worst serial harassers and doxers I've seen, and it's a very coordinated thing. And I have to do a video on it because it's too hard to explain. But yeah, it's unfortunate. And somebody with his training in counterterrorism and analyzing people, he seems to prey on mentally vulnerable people and have them do really dirty and nasty things to people. Yeah, it's if you're a big Lou guy, it's kind of a hard pill to swallow. A lot of people really try and look away from it. And I will say, since me and Tupa and a few other people have been calling it out, his little cult crew has kind of tempered their behaviors, but they were just running rampant and wild for like a few years. And I just can't trust people who enable that kind of thing. All right, we'll continue.
Guy or gal reports directly to your folks and says, look, here's the emerging technologies. Here's the threats. Here's what we're seeing overseas. Here's what we're doing here. Here's our counter drone capabilities. Here's our offensive drone capabilities. And here's what we can do and what we can't do. I'm wondering if something like that would be helpful.
Listen, 3 weeks ago, I would have said that's a huge waste of time and money. It's not.
Lou, this freaking Lou, he's done good. He's definitely done some bad, but he's a bold motherfucker. He lies to people's faces, and this isn't a lie, but James Lukatsky, his old boss, other people say like he just lies about shit all the time. But like him just being like, hey, you should that's a good idea. We should make that. It's almost, you gotta respect it. He's here in front of the president's son and basically saying like he's trying to create this position for himself. Pretty wild.
To your folks and says, look, here's the emerging technologies. Here's the threats. Here's what we're seeing overseas. Here's what we're doing here. Here's our counter drone capabilities. Here's our offensive drone capabilities. And here's what we can do and what we can't do. I'm wondering if something like that would be helpful.
Listen, 3 weeks ago, I would have said that's a huge waste of time and money. It's not that big a deal yet. But it turns out, it's interesting. I mean, especially when, people think of, the Department of Energy as actually having to do with energy. Their biggest thing is actually guarding the nuclear arsenal. And so if there's drones flying over that stuff and they're mapping all that out, I mean, it doesn't take much to envision a potential disaster. So, it's certainly something interesting. I think we're trying to cut government, but I think there are things that we obviously, need to do to protect ourselves. So maybe, Lou, what I'd ask is how does all of this stuff, fit into the broader mosaic of the work you've been doing? You have your new book, Imminent, which is a look inside the Pentagon's hunt for UFOs, but what I learned last time in talking about this, the UAP doesn't necessarily mean it's an alien, right? There's just, it's different.
It's
what's
related.
the next chapter in this story? Does all of this sort of intertwine in that?
Yeah, it does. Absolutely. It's all related. Look, everything is a UAP or UFO until it's identified, right? Everything is on. Anytime you have a lack of information, people will automatically fill it in with what they think or what they think they know. So it's a data-starved environment. But let's go through some of the options. Could it be foreign adversarial, foreign sponsored? It could be. I doubt it at this point. I think it's probably not, because I said before, the infrastructure would be, and it would be so provocative that some could even say it was an act of war. But let's talk about the problem with that. If somebody were to have a foreign capability, and let's say they put a bunch of sprayers on it, wanted to spray chemical agents or biological agents, that'd be a great way to do it, right? We can see how drones have been weaponized over in Russia right now and in the Ukraine in that battle. They're being used and they're being weaponized very, very effectively. So that concerns me. So for somebody to say, well, nothing to worry about here, I disagree with that. I think there is something to worry about it if you don't have full control and understanding of what's in your skies, which clearly this administration does not. Secondly, it could be our technology. Like you said, there could be a broken arrow situation, perhaps a weapons of mass destruction through sensitive intelligence reporting indicates that there is a potential weapons of mass destruction somewhere by a U.S. equity, critical U.S. equity somewhere in the world, and that it's kind of, but it was put in there as kind of a just in case the U.S. decides to go, hand to hand with somebody else. That's another scenario. Another scenario is that what people are seeing is actually two different things. In the old days, if there was a UAP incident, or in the vernacular for your audience's sake, a UFO incident, and despite what people think, we actually spent a lot of government money and taxpayer money investigating UFOs. So let me just put that out.
Yeah, it's a great point, Daisy. Don't forget to like the stream, y'all. It's been fun doing this with you guys. Like I said, I've been pretty much obsessed with this whole story. Feels like it's either the craziest psyop I've ever lived through, or it's the craziest UFO flap I've ever lived through. So yeah, I'm pretty glued to all this stuff right now. So yeah, like the stream, and yeah.
Out there, that's a reality. That's a fact. We did do that. We're still doing it. In the old days, you'd set up a helicopter. You'd have to wake up a crew, or maybe they were already, on the ready, and it'd take them a little while, spin up the helo, and go out and see what was coming over the wire.
Is Don Jr. okay? He looks like sad, but also, like people are saying in the chat, he does look like he's a little either high or maybe coked out or something on his Hunter Biden arc. Maybe. Just kidding. I want to be UFO czar. No.
Now we have drones. We have technology where you can have something geofenced, and if there's something that enters your airspace, it can automatically trigger a drone response, and 5 or 6 drones will go out and investigate the situation. So you have some people reporting very large vehicles where the navigation lights are not blinking in any known navigational colors. It's not, i.e., red and green. It's not anti-collision or avoidance lights. They're not bright white. In some cases, they're yellows, they're blues, they're purples,
or they disappear entirely.
Right.
Yeah, or they just go totally dark, again, in violation of what would be typical FAA rules for, I know as a pilot, if your strobe's not on, you can't go up in the air.
Right. Absolutely. Right. Exactly. These strobes in some of them cases are not the same frequency. They're not the same colors. They may not even be navigation lights. Some have been reported being huge and silent. Some have been reported coming out of the water, and some have been reported moving away at very, very fast speed. So from a UAP perspective, and I want to caveat here, I'm not saying necessarily these are UAP, but here's part of a theory, that you have some of these UAP, these drones initially are UAP. And they
real quick, I just want to shout out the super chat we got real quick before it gets too far up there. Dr. Cool, thanks for the coverage. Yes, sir. Thank you guys all for being here. It's really fun to experience all this stuff with you guys. And then who else said this? Umberto, thought we'd read this one. Bro, imagine in like 40 years, we're all going to look at this moment and realize how crazy our government really was. Yeah, we're either going to be like, we fell for the PSYOP, or like we lived through the alien invasion. And now you can come back to this video and you could hear us read that together. All right, we'll continue now.
They are being reported by the local civilian and law enforcement population. And then what you have is a military response of drones that are going out trying to find these things. And then other people, civilians in a wider area, are reporting all the drones that are coming out, 5, 6 drones at a time, seem to be doing this racetrack or this scanning, if you will, low-level scanning of the area. It's possible that they're looking for whatever maybe they saw, maybe it was UAP related. And
that's actually a really interesting point I hadn't picked up on yet and honed in on, is that these started in 2019, right? And so that's when Donald Trump was president. So if anybody wants to like attribute it to one candidate or the other, this same kind of thing happened under Trump and under Biden. So, maybe it is government, some kind of like deep state, like that's like unelected and all that. But I do find that an interesting data point that should be noted.
Now they're hoping maybe there was some sort of landing or a crash or something like that. And they're looking for it potentially. And I only say that because, and the evidence there is still, there's more data needs to be obtained, but it would make sense that you have some people reporting something completely opposite than a drone. Some people say this is totally silent, it's huge. Other people saying, no, it's small, it's a quadcopter, and I can hear the whirring of the engine. Both might be true, actually. We don't know. And there's a lot of people right now, even within my circles, that dismiss that theory. So we have to be very careful. I don't want to put it out there as fact because it is certainly not fact. It's just one of the many, many options of what this could be. It could also be a contractor, a U.S. government contractor. And under certain circumstances, the U.S. Department of Defense does not have to admit it's their equity. There are certain critical technologies on a critical technology list that if we develop a certain capability, we don't necessarily have to admit that. So we have the capability to shoot it down. We just won't, or we can't, right? And then somebody brought up a really good point. Well, so the White House position was, well, we don't want to endanger the public, right? If we shoot one of these down, it come down, it could hit somebody's house. And yet there's these incidents with the U.S. Coast Guard where you have up to 10 of these things literally stalking a U.S. Coast Guard cutter. And you're out in the middle of the ocean. Why can't you bring it down there, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Oh, what's up, Toby? Long time no see. I don't think I've seen you in a live chat yet. Good to see you, bro.
Make sense. It's the explanation of, oh, by the way, these are all lawful, so don't shoot them down, but we don't know where they're coming from. We don't know who owns them. We don't know where they're going. We don't know what they can do, and they are oversensitive military installations. I think is not only utter nonsense. I think it's a disservice to the American people.
Now on very dangerous.
Beginning to.
So yeah, I like I like some of the things Lou says, and I don't want to hate Lou forever. I'd love for everything to just his little cult to really calm down. And they have, so I will give him credit for that. And he has made some public statements about like, hey, my fans need to stop harassing and doxing people. But that's kind of a sidebar. Yeah, it's crazy the doublespeak going on in the government, and I'm glad that he's highlighting it. Schellenberger's highlighted it. Maybe we'll play that clip tomorrow if there's a slow news day. But yeah, how can you say it's like not a threat when it's literally flying over? Like it's flying in places where if you or I flew over with the drone, we'd like go to jail. You know what I mean? And they just can't get it. Some of these have also like interfered with medical evacs, helicopters getting like people in crashes and stuff like that. So yeah, it's very strange, very strange. Someone up here said feels like 9/11 or something like that. Kind of does feel like an extended, although I was only in like second grade when that happened, but it does feel like an extended unknown kind of weird. It's just this is a very weird time. All right, we have one more Lou clip, and then we are going to go to someone else. Let's see.
Now on very dangerous territory regarding organizations.
And yeah, this was Lou on Ross Coulter. Like I said, like since last show, Lou has literally been on like 6 streams, 6 different shows. Yeah,
taking unilateral and autonomous control of things in our government, which, from my perspective, that equates to a coup d'état, right? So that this is really. This would be if this happened, if this is actually what's happening, and there is elements of the rogue state doing this, then my friend, we've got bigger problems on our hands than drones.
I admit, just to allay people's concerns, at the moment, it's only a possible scenario. But I mean, I'm wrestling with trying to find an explanation that doesn't include either a rogue US government actor from somewhere within the government that's doing the wrong thing without the knowledge of the White House, without the knowledge of the Joint Chiefs. Because I thought what was very important on the weekend was the Joint Chiefs, like the bosses in the Pentagon, came out and said categorically, this is not us. This is not defense, period. That was a very definitive statement. So somebody we know, though, is operating, or maybe something is operating what now appears
Look,
to be
it's real. It's shutting down airports. Ross, we're beyond that with that part of the discussion, right? We're people saying, well, are these things really happening? It's happening. It is a bona fide fact. The evidence is overwhelming.
Joining us now is the founder of
So yeah, I can't disagree with that. Like it's happening now. It's like so weird to see it actually happening right now. There's like so many different like mindsets of it. I know it's crazy because I've just been so into it for like almost a month now, streaming every day for like a week. I forget where I was, but it's like, hey, what are your thoughts on the drones? And like someone was like, what are you talking about? Like it's crazy that there's some people still aren't even like tuned in, and even interviewed. And I'll try and get it up for tomorrow. The person I interviewed about the orb sighting lives like fairly close to Picatinny Arsenal, and they weren't even like tuned into it until like a week or 2 ago, and they live in the heat of it, and then they saw something, and now they're all shook up. But yeah, it's crazy. All right, we have one more video. We're going to listen from one more a member of the UFO community about this, and we do have a new meme to introduce them with, because hopefully this will be like a recurring thing. Let's see.
If you face that, you're not going to be afraid of death. And so I have sort of I call it the spirit warrior mindset, where I'm just not afraid of if I get threatened, or I've been threatened plenty with what I'm doing, because.
All right. So yes, we do have Stephen Greer, and maybe before we get to what he was going to say, let me just throw this up real quick. This was really weird, and I did block off some of it. This is some of the weird stuff that happens in this community that you wouldn't really get unless you're like a UFO researcher or content creator, right? If you're kind of just passively enjoying it on the sidelines, it gets really weird and dirty. So this was yesterday. Greer says, important message. We have been notified that false character assassination campaigns will soon be launched against Dr. Greer by corrupt and in interest wishing to stop upcoming disclosures. This has been expected and will not deter us. In an email to his fans, he says, I think he just says the same thing. And then today there was this like whole campaign from like people on the Lou crew basically accusing Stephen Greer of like being on this gay relationship site. I think he's married or something like that. I don't even know. I had to blur some of this stuff out. I don't even know if it's confirmed him. I've seen this group like make fake accounts on Grindr for people like that. They did that to Tupa. They used pictures of Tupa and his daughter on the Grindr accounts. Very disgusting stuff. And it's like, Lou, why do you hang out with people like this? Lou Elizondo. But anyways, so I just thought that was kind of an interesting little tidbit. And people are talking about his Dead Man Switch that Lil Pop-Tart found it today. That thing has actually been out, I think, since like 2020 or 2013 even. But yeah, I haven't had a chance to read that yet. But maybe we'll get Lil Pop-Tart, my friend in here, who's a big Greer guy. He's Greer gang as they come. He did this whole tweet today. I was like, hey, they're going to watch out for Greer. But yeah, so there was if you go online, you'll see a wide array of like Greer's cheating on his wife and his closet homosexual, which is kind of weird energy. I'd rather talk about UFOs. But you know, you try and talk about UFOs in this field and then stuff like that happens. Okay, we're going to get back to our clip that we closed it with. We'll hear what Greer has to say about all this drone stuff. And I don't think we've played him yet during the drone coverage.
Joining us now is the founder of the Disclosure Project, Dr. Stephen Greer. Dr. Greer, it is great to have you on. A pleasure to be speaking with you right now.
Thank you.
What is going on out there? What are people seeing?
Well, it's a complex story that make it very succinct. We did predict this 30 years ago, that they would begin to launch some activity equivalent to a false flag to make it look like there's some sort of alien attack or threat. In reality, it's a response to what's happening. And I've recently told the incoming members of the administration this and people at the Senate Intelligence and Armed Services Committee that we have a team of about 6 different black sites that have been running illegal projects related to so-called UAPs and UFOs coming forward in the next 30 days or so. They will bring forth dispositive evidence of this and the fact that these programs have been run illegally and outside of constitutional oversight. This is a ramp up to divert attention from that activity and could lead to some other events that would be catastrophic. This is a very dangerous situation. Nothing people are seeing has anything to do with aliens or extraterrestrial intelligence. It has to do with trying to maintain the cover up on a secret program that went black, but illegal black, back in the late 1950s. So we're into 65, 70 years of some very dangerous operations. Now, these men that are defecting are coming out of some sites I've been at. I was in a helicopter last year, which after that I was almost killed, frankly. And we were over these black sites and saw the openings that go into underground facilities where there are the man-made UFOs that come out, but also where they have illegal electromagnetic pulse weapons where they target and down the extraterrestrial vehicles that are then reverse engineered.
Okay, let me stop you. Let me stop you right there, Dr. Greer. Let me start just because I want everyone at home I want us all to be on the same page. You're saying that we have the technology to shoot ET craft, not of this planet, out of the air, and we are reverse engineering those aircraft.
100%. And there are multiple men coming forward. They've been with JSOC and Special Forces, who are also NOx, an unofficial cover in corporate world. One of them has been there about 29 years and is very senior and has all the evidence, and they'll be releasing the evidence and the information. Now, this creates a dynamic because it's happening before the inauguration. They plan to do it sometime between now and early January. And I've been working with these men for about 19 months. And they're serious, and they have the goods. They can prove what they're stating, but they're also going to unmask themselves. They will come forward, name, rank, serial number, and the whole history of this, including the illegal nature of some of these programs, which we don't have time to go into.
Yeah, and you know, Greer, there's only some things I disagree with Greer on, even on this probably too, but he's kind of a love and lighter. He thinks there's like no negative NHI, and I think there 100% is. He does have some grifting qualities for sure, but people can't deny like he got a bunch of witnesses on film in the 90s that no one else was, and they probably all would have been dead by now. I think most of them are probably dead. A lot of the Blue Book people, we have testimonies from because of him. And then the other element too is for whatever reason, like the little Lou Crew disclosure, mainstream disclosure industrial complex thing that they got going on here, like they obviously have heroes and villains, right? There's people that they like and there's people that they hate, that they'll dox and harass and all this stuff. For whatever reason, Greer is like the big bad of all of them. And I think it's because he was an independent voice and like the biggest independent voice when all the 2017 stuff started. So they had to kind of like neutralize him. And there's been a bunch of hit pieces and like in media assets associated with Elizondo and that camp. A lot of organization against this guy. And like, as he said before, like he already knew there was going to be a new character assassination campaign against him, which I think is because he's speaking about this during this flap. And a lot of people who have never looked at UFOs are looking at this flap, right? It's breaking through. So that's why I think there's probably this new little campaign against him. But yeah, we'll play a little more of this. Oh, and then also, this clip's almost done, and this is the last clip. So if you guys want to type in, what is everyone thinking right now? Oh, and real quick too, let's shout out the super chat. Beats and Meats. The original Grindr Stephen Greer thing happened years ago when someone who went to a CE5 event posted that they saw him scrolling through Grindr. Oh, there you go. Post in the chat, and so I can maybe read at the end because it takes a few minutes to like catch up. Where are you guys at right now? What do you guys think is going on with these mystery drones? Greer here seems to think that it's a black breakaway civilization type thing, which is, you know, not a bad hypothesis. I've heard a lot of people say that there's definitely like a black breakaway civilization with advanced tech that isn't part of the government even.
But they'll curl your toes. Some of the stuff that's been going on is quite illegal and very dangerous and horrible. But the technologies, I mean, remember the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty requires that we have no electromagnetic
Could you give me, Dr. Greer, could you give us a quick summary? I'd like to hear some of the toe curling details, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, for example, they have been able to confirm one of our whistleblowers' testimony, who's a Marine, Michael Herrera, who was present at an event, stumbled across an event during a rescue mission after the Indonesian earthquake in 2009. And he came across a platform, a man-made object about 300 feet around that was manned by covert human operators who were American. And they had boxed up and crated up humans that they were trafficking that had oxygen tanks on this tank. And they were being moved to a black site for various types of human experimentation and use. It's horrific, some of the actions. The main operator from two of these black sites that I've been at, I will not discuss where they are right now.
Okay.
It'll be disclosed fairly soon. He actually had personal knowledge of that. So when this whistleblower came forward, who was taken to the Pentagon Aero Office and Senate Intelligence Committee, he approached me and confirmed all of it. And so he said, not only that, but it's way worse than that. So there are some really worrisome programs going on without the oversight of the president or the Congress, and that has to get corrected because it's dangerous. Now, all these drones and everything going on is both a diversion, but an attempt to create a psychological warfare,
right, a psyop to distract us.
And that's really what it is.
I will say, I do love how mainstream the word psyop is. I know it's kind of like, not cringe, but it is kind of like overplayed, I will, but I'd rather have it be overplayed than underplayed. You know, not everyone really knows exactly what it means, but yeah.
But it could escalate to something very dangerous. I mean, yesterday I was told that I personally might be arrested, that there will be a character assassination plot against me that will come out soon.
There we go, guys. That's the news of today. The big things were the FAA now has issued a big flight restriction, right? So that actually I think will be better for videos, right? Because now things that we see, now the videos that we'll see coming out of Jersey will be in the flight restriction. So it's like, oh, so what is that? You know what I mean? You guys are going to shoot down anything that flies, you know, so that's cool. New statements from the Pentagon we covered. This new Colorado stuff, and that at the same time they're reporting that Coloradans are seeing these mystery drones again. All of a sudden 200 cattle go missing in Colorado. Yeah, Fun stuff. All right. And that's about it, guys. We'll see what everyone's saying. We see Joss Ray says 100% no such thing as aliens. It's all been military. Don't fall for the BS. That's your perspective. Eric Draven says Dr. Greer's beer farts open portals to other dimensions. Maybe they do. Fisk says imagine drones dumping chemicals on you. And again, we have heard that reported. I'm just going to play the clip again because I've now heard it from 5 different people who don't know each other. Some of it's secondhand, some of it's blah, blah, blah. But 4 on New Jersey and 1 in California, people claiming that these things are discharging some kind of mist towards the ground and that the government is not, they're acting like nothing's even happening, but they're definitely not touching the mist thing. And I still personally think that those 2 videos that came out last weekend of the UFOs shooting towards the ground, I don't think they've been sufficiently debunked. And if anything, I think the official quote unquote community notes debunks of it are not adequate and kind of show that it's sus. But here we go. Here's Omer's testimony.
No fucking way.
Oh wait, actually, wait, wrong one. Sorry. Sorry guys, we're doing it live. Okay, 1 second. Just because I do think this is important, and it's like I said, the news definitely isn't touching this kind of stories. And I am not gonna lie, I'm pretty happy that we're able to get these. We're still really small here, right? But that we're able to get these this coverage out because I don't know. I think we're some of the first people corroborating this mist thing across multiple people.
And I have where my smoke shop is. It's in Richfield, New Jersey. I have customers telling me. Literally, I had a customer of mine. She says she sees some of them dropping some stuff out of them. She says she saw
what did she describe they're dropping?
Like a white mist thing. She says she saw that. She saw like a white mist coming out.
Remember the other day I was like, are we watching an abduction right now or something? Is the thing abducting the soul of this thing? And people are like, oh, that's a plane. Honestly, I watched it a bunch of times. The guy filming it says that drones, his neighborhood is full of other mystery drones that look just like that. And he said it's been spraying, right? And I've never seen a contrail that's like moving as much as this one is, like, but I don't know. And now that we're hearing it from other people too, like Omer and others that I'm gonna try and clip up here soon, we'll play back.
Of mine, she says she sees some of them dropping some stuff out of them. She says she saw
what did
like
she describe they're dropping?
Like a white mist thing. She says she saw that. She saw like a white mist coming out of them. Seven in a row.
I'm gonna put a video up in the nest of someone who
7 in a row. And mind you, since this time, I've found 3 other people who brought it up on their own. Didn't know about the other people that they've seen these things discharging some kind of mist towards the ground.
reported something similar, and let me know if it kind of sounds like what she's describing. And it looks like, yeah, like these drones things we're seeing with like a white mist dust just kind of shooting towards the ground.
Yes.
Look at this motherfucker. Look at him spraying. Look at that. Look at that. He is spraying the sky again. Bro, this is fucking crazy, man. Look at this guy. They're spraying the skies.
We're like, that's airplane. Look at how many of these mystery drones are directly above his neighborhood. And it looks just like that other one and I've never seen a contrail look like that. Like it's like all moving and shit and stuff. Sorry.
They're spraying the skies. Look, he just sprayed that. This guy. This guy just sprayed that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't think Omer had seen that video at that point, and he brought it up that his customer told him. And then when I showed him that, he was like, yeah, that's basically what she described to me too. So again, the government is saying like there's nothing to see here. There's they're hobby planes. Do you think they wouldn't also lie if these things were actively discharging something or maybe even shooting people? Come on, they definitely would lie about that too. But yeah, with that, I will catch you guys all tomorrow. Great stream. Trying to stay informed here. Yeah, crazy. Well, I hope everyone has a great day. I'm gonna go eat something, and we'll see you tomorrow. I don't know if there's anything scheduled tomorrow, like any kind of briefing or any kind of legislative thing, but you never know. You never know. All right, peace out, guys.